understand how can we possibly be live a whole 60 seconds early?
Yeah, I'm actually not sure. It might be about 30 seconds early, but I'll just wait till the clock goes to. There we go. There we go. It's about 15 seconds early.
Okay, well, we'd hate to over-deliver, wouldn't we? We'd hate to over-deliver.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. What an amateur.
Indeed. What are we talking about today?
What the hell are buyers doing to us? What? As a salesman, what the hell are they doing? I mean, we've heard stories, over the past couple of weeks, where they say things like, "We love what you do. We love your business. We really want to work with you. You cost too much. Can you just shave a bit off?" I had one. I had one that went, "We'll go with you if you just pay the VAT for us."
What?
I didn't even understand what that meant.
I don't understand what that means.
No.
What are you saying?
I really, it's and everything, and again this morning in Mastery we talked about. So we've just finished Mastery, where people come to see us week after week after week, and we talk about sales problems. It's the we'd like to negotiate. When someone says that to a salesperson, we'd like to negotiate. It's never going to end well for you. What they're never saying is, we'd like to negotiate and you can put your price up if you want.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure it happens, but more often than not.
Yeah. When you negotiate,
it doesn't.
Your price is pretty much going to go south, isn't it? Let's be honest. If you get to that negotiation, if you play that game, that's for sure.
And we just need another 2.5%. And then you realise your margin was 3%. And what they want is about 75-80% of your margin, of your profit, to give that. So you end up with no profit, and then your business goes to hell. And at the end of it, your supply went bump. I'll just find another one. This one's split. Can you get me a new one? So why are we talking about what the hell are buyers doing to us? Why are we doing that?
Can I be a little bit controversial?
Go on.
I've got to say that actually the most important tool in our toolkit here is the mirror, because actually what buyers are doing to us is basically what we let them do to us. And also, I'm going to go ahead and say it's what they've been trained to do, not just by the amazing procurement training that they've probably received, because a lot of professional buyers are probably better trained than most salespeople that are going in to see them. That's certainly true, which of course, if you're a professional buyer, is very frustrating, because you've basically been presented with a parade of amateurs. I mean, obviously not the people watching today, but it can be a little frustrating if you are a professional buyer and you've got yet another person who's been trained to come in with his little or her little iPad and skimming through all the little slides, and we've got this product and we've got this product and it does this and it does that, and you could sort of almost see them glazing over, like, will you please stop talking about yourself, showing up and throwing up all of your bullshit. Did I say that out loud?
That's really the tape. Okay, well, we'll come back to that, because that's a great thing. But we're talking about this for a particular reason, in that Thursday, and there's still a bit of time to log in there, at Staffordshire University, Matthew and I, we're doing some training at Staffordshire University in the Catalyst building. And it's for Staffordshire SMEs, it's absolutely no cost. Apart from your time. There's always a cost for your time. It's going to be a day. It's a day out of your life. Still a couple of places left. And we'd like to just fill up those corners. And I guess there's some money left from the European fund that we've already paid. I guess we're now getting it back. Let's bring it into Staffordshire. And they've hired us for a day to do some training, and we feel honoured and privileged to be working with such a fantastic academic outfit. And we're doing that on Thursday. So the sort of stuff we're talking about today, and it's a very thin slice what we're talking about today, we'll be talking about in depth on Thursday. And just ping us, just call us, email us on this, or just contact us through LinkedIn or Facebook, where you're seeing this now, and we'll get in touch with the right people.
Yes.
What the hell are buyers doing to us? You alluded to something I thought was really quite interesting. they're doing it to us. Is it our fault that we let them, or is it their fault that they're doing it to us? What do you think?
Can we control other people's behavior?
I think we can certainly. I saw an advert on YouTube the other day that says if all the spots in a roulette wheel were black, would you ever go? The more black spots there were, was it black areas? I don't play roulette. If you can tip things in your favour, would you? Well, absolutely.
Life is not a lottery. Life is not a gamble. You are allowed to actually show up well prepared. That's not cheating. It's not cheating. It really isn't.
It isn't cheating. Yeah.
In fact, the better prepared you are, that just means the more sensible you are. Working to a good quality process. Now, I mean, the thing is with processes, we all know. For those people who have had any kind of sales training over the years, I mean, I don't know. I mean, my first ever sales training was in 1996. So that's just over a quarter of a century ago now, which is a scary thought, right? So quarter of a century ago, I had sales training, and the very first thing they did genuinely was put up on the whiteboard. They put up the letters AIDA, which if you've ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross, are exactly the same letters that they put up on that. I watched Glengarry Glen Ross, the movie of it, and Alec Baldwin puts these letters up on his blackboard. I was like, Christ, this is the sales training I received. It's ridiculous. And they stand for attention, interest, desire, and action. And this is the process that as a salesperson you're supposed to follow. I got another one, which was PANDA. It's basically exactly the same thing, except the P is preparation, and then you've got your attention, and then you've got your need, and then you've got your desire, and then you've got your action. But basically these things are little processes that you're supposed to follow as a salesperson. Now, a little bit of a nerdy sales fact for you. Do you know the earliest recorded record of AIDA as a process?
I have no idea. You've just brought back the horrors of the past to me of my first sales training, which was a few years before yours. It was then. It was 1876 when I did my first sales training.
There you go. Well, maybe that first recorded use of AIDA was yours. But there you go, 1876. Now, it's been around for a while. Do you think that maybe people are kind of wise to it?
Absolutely. It's like anything, in the theatre of war. If people are throwing a new weapon at you, you do your best to deal with it and try to neutralise the effectiveness of the weapon. We've got some stories about that. They are used to it. I've forgotten all about that.
There you go.
And it's interesting. You said 1996. That was when I first came across Sandler. Or I was sheep dipped in Sandler, which was interesting all on its own. But yeah, the buyers are onto us if we're doing the old traditional stuff, which in some ways is a bit creepy. I remember standing my first sales training. So I just left. I was in an engineering company, and I actually my car was falling apart, or actually fell apart, because cars got rusty then. And I went to I saw a job advert saying salesperson required, and it read like it was designed for me, qualified engineer, knows his stuff, experience in projecting, commissioning, good at design, and it was like my CV. I'm going, this was meant for me, but it's sales. Oh, it's dirty. We don't do. And I walked past it and I stopped dead, and I came back, and at the bottom of this it said company car included, and a little bubble came out of my head. That was just a picture of my old motor just falling into, sort of collapsing inwardly into a heap of rust and bubbles, and that's how I went into the dirty world of sales, because I got and it was interesting. I got given a new, well, it wasn't new, it was nearly new, not Ford, Austin Montego.
Living the dream, mate. Living the dream.
It was a bag of spanners. And shortly afterwards, it did actually disintegrate itself, and they gave me a new Ford Sierra. Now that was better. But happy day. So anyway, this is going back a while, and the first sales training that I got had a guy standing there on stage, and he said, "You've got to ask for the order. You've got to put your hand in the pocket and get the fucking order." And I'm there, and I'm looking through like split fingers, going, "Oh God, is that my world? They can have the car back."
I mean, what a nasty way to do business, especially for most of us who are in the space, not where we're just hawking products and pushing pills. We're in the position where actually, if people take on the stuff that we do, it in some way transforms their lives, transforms their businesses. What we're doing is transformational, not transactional. Which means that actually, as a salesperson, you've got a phenomenal opportunity here to partner with the person that you're talking to, who's a prospective client maybe. And if they have got the sorts of problems that you can solve, and maybe those problems are having a big enough impact in their lives, the sorts of conversations they have are going to really, really, really add value to them. So you, as a salesperson, have got the privileged and honored position of being able to add value to somebody else's life. And in so doing, get paid at a rate that is commensurate with the value that you bring. That's actually a bloody honourable position. Well, was it the guy from IBM said that nothing happens until somebody sells something?
Until somebody sells something, and that's absolutely right. And again, we can sometimes that sort of story is mixed up. But I mean, when you have training like you've got to put your hand in the pocket and take the, and of course, one of the basic things you were always told was once you've got the order, run.
Yeah.
Don't look back. Don't look back. Just get the order placed, and it's horrible. Yeah. And then you get professional buyers who expect salespeople going into them, and they expect they're trained killers with this sort of, you've got to get the order, because they always say that they always ask for the order, and really it's if you're asking for the order, it's solving the salesperson's problem. It's not solving their problem. If it's solving the buyer's problem, they will give you an order.
Yes.
And asking for the order is presumptive. It's arrogant. It's nasty. And anybody who's watching this, both of our viewers, don't ever ask for the order. And it's a Sandler rule. I don't remember which number it is, but the Sandler rule is basically don't ask for the order.
Make the prospect give it up.
Work with the client, make the prospect give it up. And your job as a salesperson is to have the sort of conversation with someone who potentially is buying that turns them into someone who's a buyer of your stuff. And I think the word sell as well is the wrong thing, because no one really sells. I mean, occasionally you get snake oil guys and putting your hand in your pocket and taking the order and stuff. But your job is not to sell as a salesperson. It's to solve the buyer's problem. And if they see that you can solve the buyer's problem, take away their pain, they will buy. And I guess when buyers are expecting these trained killers to walk into their business, isn't it ever likely they learn about Ada and they say, "Oh, that's a Benjamin Franklin close."
Yeah, absolutely. They recognise it, right? I mean, there's an old quote. You know me. I do love a quote. Yeah.
There we go. We've got a comment. We've got a comment here. Let's show that from Tim.
Okay.
Hello, Tim. It's been a while, mate, since we spoke. I'd love to be a fly on the wall of the training that buyers receive. How to respond to a request for an order from a salesperson. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's role play it, Roy. You ask me for the order, I'll be the buyer.
So you like our stuff, Matthew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all right.
Can I have the order?
Wince. The first thing they do is they wince.
They wince. Thank you for that, Tim. We should speak again, by the way, Tim. It's been a long time.
The first thing they do is wince at you, and then immediately the salesperson does what? They start gabbling and justifying why they should get the order.
Yeah, the only person who should justify an order is the buyer. Yeah. And if they can't justify to you as a seller, why are they buying it? But I tell you, the way traditional sales training is, and warning, there's still a lot of that going on out there.
Mm-hmm.
it's ever likely the buyers are onto you, and they're coming get you. They really are. And what's more, you've bought it upon yourself, and you deserve it.
Well, half but fair. So I'm going to loop back to my quote that I wanted to give you, because you mentioned about your job is to provide a solution to their problem. Well, there's the Einstein quote: is if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes on the problem and 5 minutes on the solution. So you got to have the balance right. If you're not spending all your time actually trying to understand the problem, then all the solutions that you spraff off at them, sorry, that's a Scottish phrase, basically mean you vomit all over them.
Spraff. I've got to make a note of that. That's a learning point for me.
Sorry, a bit of Scottish idiom for you there. Lying where it was that I came from originally. So I might sound English, but I'm not. So there you go. A bit of spraffing off. Blah, here's my solution. Blah, here's my stuff. Blah, here's my features. Blah, here's my benefits. I mean, they're just covered in your sales vomit. That's not a pleasant experience for anybody, except maybe you, if it's a bit of a self-pleasuring thing, talking about yourself, right?
I remember I used to work with a guy. We used to call him Robo Rep, and he would turn up. He would turn up with a big book of stuff that we did, and he'd go, and we do this, and we do this. He'd have little stickers on the side, and he'd just open it up, and he'd go, and we do this as well. There's another one. This is our newest stuff. We do and we have, yes, it's very, very, very interesting, very exciting, and actually he did manage to sell stuff despite what he did, rather than because of what he said. Oh, there's Dawn. Let's see, Dawn's made a comment on there. Yeah. Here we go. Is there training available for salespeople to help them with ideas on how to approach professional buyers? Well, it's spooky you mentioned that, Dawn. Because yes, there is. Yes, there is, and but we'll talk about that later. And again, we mentioned earlier that there is some free stuff going on at Staffordshire University. Very proud to be working with Staffordshire University and actually giving a day of sales training on this Thursday coming, the 23rd of June. There are some places available. If you are based in Staffordshire, an SME in Staffordshire, there are still places available. Just ping us on LinkedIn, either Matthew or myself, and we'll get in touch with the right person, see if we can line you up with that. So there is training available. And strangely enough, Dawn, that's what we do. Talking about that, we've got Staffordshire University on the phone. I'll call them back in a minute.
Yeah, cool. Not on LinkedIn.
Yes. So is the training available? Yes, there is. Dawn, I'd love to speak to you about it. Maybe we should have a chat. I've got another one here, so we'll hide this. We've got another one here. Danny. Danny's always joining us. That's our viewer. I genuinely believe a lot of issues between seller and buyer is the language used. Sales language tends to be hunting. Oh yeah, it's a macho word, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there are only winners and losers in hunting. Yeah, that's a beautiful line, Matthew.
Yeah, I totally agree, Danny. For me, it's more about a partnership approach. It's about, I know it almost becomes a cliche talking about trusted advisors, but actually that's where you want to be. You want to be in that space where somebody trusts you to advise them on the best solutions to their problems, even sometimes when those solutions have got nothing to do with what it is that you do. A truly trusted advisor is prepared to actually, quote unquote, lose a sale using the negative language of winners and losers, because actually they know they're not the right person to actually resolve things. Your job as a salesperson is to work out a few things. Firstly, is there a problem here that you can solve? Secondly, is it a big enough problem that it needs solving? Because every business lives with a bunch of problems, most of which they'll live with because they can. And thirdly, are you the best person to solve it? If the answer to those three things is yes, if it's a big enough problem to solve, if you're the right person to solve it and you're the best person to solve it, well then, yeah, fair enough. You now have a moral duty to actually help them to get hold of that solution. But if you're not the best person to solve it, then you've got an equal moral duty to actually find somebody else who is a good solution for them. That's a partnership approach. It's a genuine approach. And it's about making sure the buyer feels safe, that they actually trust you, that they have that sense that actually they can be open with you and vulnerable with you. That takes real practice and deliberate intent, and it takes a really strong-minded way of approaching your sale, which is actually to maintain walkaway presence. That actually, I don't need the business, I do want the business, but I don't necessarily need it. So let's actually see if we can partner together to solve your solutions.
Does it make sense? And I think that's I guess a phrase that was sent back at me today when a client said when we first met. The thing is that as a purveyor of fine products and services, you have solutions to many problems. And when you're talking to a buyer, they have a problem. Now, here's the thing. If your problem is hitting your targets and getting your sales in, that's your problem. The buyer has the solution to that. That's when you get a bit desperate and ask for the order. On the other hand, if you are the solution to the buyer's problem, there's a much better relationship to be built. And you can still walk out, even if the buyer wants it cheaper and you can't afford to do it cheap or don't want to because your products and services are very valuable. You can walk away. You've still got the solution. The buyer's still got the problem. And always remember that. The buyer's got the problem. You've got possibly a solution. And it is okay to work out that it doesn't make sense for either of you to be there. Let me just see that. Thank you very much, Danny. It's great to see you again. Joshua sent something in here.
Yeah, that's about my Einstein quote, I think. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, very good. That Lincoln one. Yep, I love that. First 45 minutes sharpening my axe. He's a smart old boy, that Lincoln. As is Einstein. Thank you for that. Oh, Danny's done another one. Let's see what Danny's put here. Sales is more like farming, cultivating relationships, adding value. Danny,
can I add something on that?
Yeah.
Farmers are amongst the most pragmatically ruthless people on the planet. Okay, you'll never meet a farmer who doesn't know exactly what his or her yield needs to be. You'll never find a farmer who doesn't know their numbers. They plan their crop rotation out meticulously. Everything is done with intent. Everything is done with planning. Everything is done with a level of ruthlessness that would make the average hunter look like basically like a pussycat. So farming doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing things in a soft and fluffy way. Far from it. Okay, it's done with planning, it's done with intent, but it is about nurturing and building and growing rather than going out there and killing something. Yeah, so I agree with you, Dan. I totally agree.
Yeah, with you. I think it's great, and I think you'll find that farmers are really good at behaviours. They do this, then they do this, then they do this, then they do this, and beautiful things happen. And it's over time. And there are no shortcuts in farming. And I think when you've got the hunter mentality, sometimes you think there's a shortcut. I mean, we both know there is no silver bullet in sales. There's no silver bullet in sales. So you know, there's just a number of behaviours you have to do time and time again, and I guess, you know, that's what we do. We talk about behaviours a lot. Doing enough of the right things yields the right results. Qualifying hard, getting rid of the tire kickers early gives you more time to spend with the people who there is a potential for you to make their life better by being in their world. And yeah, it's farming has got a bit of a bad rep, and I'm glad they don't put in adverts anymore, because I'm sure someone said, "Oh no, it's not politically correct to put hunters in there." But you used to see things like, "We need aggressive closers."
Yeah, because I mean, personally, I love buying from people who are really aggressive at me. They're the best people to buy from, right?
Aggressive closers. Oof, fills me with horror.
Can I go a little bit nerdy? Is that all right?
Go on.
Okay, so as we know, there's a 168 clearly identified cognitive biases, which are the heuristics, the shortcuts to thinking that we use automatically as autopilots, ways to help our brains to work more efficiently, more quickly. One of them is called reactance. That basically means that, and it's a survival mechanism that we've evolved to push back against anything where we think it's a threat. And when I say we think it's a threat, I mean the little kind of chimp that lives inside us that perceives the world in terms of gains and losses, in terms of pains and gains, right? So if something comes across as a potential threat, it's going to push back against it aggressively, or it's going to run away from it. We call this fight or flight, right? So reactance is the cognitive bias where you instantly go into pushing back against something. So if you feel like somebody's pushing you or coercing you into doing something, guess what you do? You push back. Hard sales is good for one thing and one thing only: hard pushback. Sandler rule: people buy despite hard sell, not because of it.
And absolutely, absolutely right. And if you're a sales manager out there, or sales director, or business owner, you've got salespeople working for you. One thing you'll know that if your salespeople sell something, it's because they're genius salespeople, and if they don't sell something, it's because the buyer's an idiot. And I was looking at a report, and it just left me who it was by. But basically, this company did some research on people. They're not a sales training company. I have a much loved competitor whose name I can't remember. And they did this. People going into a building as salespeople, and as they came out, they said, how do you feel you were? And you got below average, average, above average. How do you think your sales approach was? And 87% said they were above average in what they'd achieved. And then they went in and questioned the buyers, and 3% agreed that they were above average. So, we do get delusional as salespeople. But I've got to say, when I used to sell, it was because I was great. And when I didn't, it's because the buyer was an idiot. And I thought I invented that, but clearly not, because it's a sales pandemic, I think, those lines. Hey, I'm just conscious looking at the time. We've actually had quite a few people on this thing I can see here.
Danny's just dropped another one in there, which I absolutely love. He said, based on this whole reactance thing, do not press this button. Winky face. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Roy, negative reverse psychology doesn't work, does it?
I don't know, does it?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I've never tried it. I don't see any reason why you would ever use negative reverse psychology to your advantage.
And again, it's a great questioning mode, and we will be talking about that, I think, on Thursday, Stafford University. And when we talk about this in our sales training, for those who don't know, we're actually sales and leadership trainers, but we don't want to put an advert out there. Just read the LinkedIn profile. So what the hell are buyers doing to us? Conclusions, Matthew.
Whatever we let them do to us, and frankly, the worst thing is, it's sometimes to their disadvantage as well as ours. We're doing nobody any favors, not ourselves and not them. We are stopping people who potentially need what we have as a solution. We're stopping them to have access to that solution just because of the way we show up. And frankly, we should be bloody ashamed of ourselves.
And you're absolutely right. Good salespeople are a force for good. They change the world. I mean, certainly some of the stuff that I used to sell, just people never even realized these solutions were possible to their problems. And this is unrecognized. They didn't realize that this was possible. Nobody had ever told them it was possible. And when I sort of bumbled in there and listened hard to what they got and give them a solution to their problem they thought they just had to live with, magical things happened. And I never discounted. And many of my clients will tell you, discount is not a word we heard from Roy very often. But you don't need to, when the pain is a far bigger impact on their business than the cost of the investment of the solution. Hey, conscious looking at the time, we're 28 minutes and 49 seconds, and we should be gone in 30 minutes. I think we get another 15 seconds because we started early, which I've just wasted.
Yeah.
So what should we talk about next week? I don't know. It's a bit controversial today. I think we've had the biggest viewer list that we've ever had. Should we be controversial next week?
I love a bit of controversy. We'll come up with something super controversial. And if there's anybody who is one of our many viewer today, then I'd be delighted if you just sort of drop a few things in the comment as to what you'd like to see us talk about. Maybe we can get proper ranty. There you go. I love that. Well done, Danny. Yeah, nice. You shoot one deer, all the other deer scatter. You cultivate the environment, you can harvest more than one potato. It's all planning and everyone benefits. Beautiful notes to finish us on. Thank you, Danny. Excellent work. Roy, how can people get hold of you?
I'm on the LinkedIn or the Facebook. You can see there, message me there, or email roy.johnson@sandler.com. Mobile 07 867-525-868, 07-867-525-868. Matthew, how can they get hold of you? Because you're far nicer than me.
I don't think I've evidenced that at all today, I'm afraid. I think I've been quite ranty today. Mobile phone 07715 269 724. That's 07715 269 724. The email's dead easy. It's just mdh@sandler.com. You can also obviously talk to me on the LinkedIn and Twitter, and just find me. There's not too many Matthew Dashwood users out there. I mean, let's be honest, it's not exactly a common name, is it? So there you go.
No. I like it. It sounded, the sound went a bit. It sounded to me. Just repeat the email address again.
mdh@sandler.com.
That's MDH, as for Matthew Hughes, at sandler.com. Brilliant. We'll see you next week with something controversial, because people seem to like controversial, so we're going to do it.
There you go. So I suppose it's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from him.
Excellent.
Goodbye.